live.
Well, welcome to Hot
Hello,
Flashes and
hello.
Margaritas. So we are so excited today because we have our very first guest that we get to talk to, and she is a precious friend of mine from junior high, people. So we're talking,
Back
I
in
don't
the
want to say
day.
Way
four
back.
decades, but back 4 decades of friendship. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old. Um, so I'm really excited just to be able to have this time. So thank you so much, Angel, for
Oh
being
my gosh, thank you for having me. It's an honor. I love to just be a part of all your goodness.
you're so sweet. So, Angel Corona, she is an intuitive wellness consultant and she is an extremely gifted person. It's kind of been crazy to watch her through the years just change and grow into this field. And so, she's going to talk to us a bit about what she does. And we're going to kind of get into it a bit about the body, the intuitive parts of us, the spirit, and how we learn and listen, how to listen, really,
Yeah.
to these parts of ourselves. So she's been doing this for 12 years. So she's got some experience under her belt, lots of stories. I'm sure we're going to hear some of them because I'm going to ask. I want
Yes.
all the tea,
All the
of
things.
course, with confidentiality, but like
I'm an
we,
open book.
yeah, well, we learn from our stories, right? Like we learn from even our clients,
Yeah.
and we're continually growing and learning. All of us in our careers, we learn
Yeah.
from the people that we serve, and so that's an
Yeah.
honor.
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, and you say 12 years, and I always say, right, I'm 50 now, just turned 50. And this has been a lifetime of learning of
Mm.
all the communication that's going on behind the scenes. So, yeah, right. School of Hard Knocks for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You have quite the story. I mean, I want you to share a bit about yourself,
Yeah.
because like you said, this doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like I didn't become a therapist out of nowhere. Angie didn't become who she is out of nowhere.
Right.
I say who she is because she's not just a therapist. She has all these other hats she wears.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, let's be honest. I didn't become perfect out of nowhere. This took a lot of work because
So I want to tell us a little tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about yourself, Angel. So
Yeah. So, like I said, right, 50 just turned that number,
whoop,
and I
whoop.
absolutely still
happy
feel like,
birthday.
thank you. Well, it's September. I say
Wow.
just, but
No, it's
I know. But it has been a lifetime of learning for sure. 2014, I basically just bottomed out, crashed, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just hit my rock bottom. I was so heavy. I was 211 pounds. I was numbed out, broken, and all the things, just completely driven by, I got to do this, I got to do that, just trying to meet the demand of everybody, everything, being everything to everyone, and just hit a wall. And it was through physical health issues that basically sat my ass down. Like, you're not doing this anymore. And so that's when I had a choice, right? Am I going to, kind of do all the things surgically, medically, or am I going to try first? Because that has its place, but am I going to try first to figure out what is going on? Like, what is the why? And that is when I started my journey to everything kind of coming online. And that is when I started realizing, oh my gosh, there's so much communication, insight, information that is going on within me that's trying to get my attention. This whole time I've been running from that, shutting that out, turning that off. And so my journey was basically that happening, that coming online, me learning that I am layered and dimensional. And I had so much trauma. My EMDR therapist tells me I'm in the top 3 percentile. I didn't know that. I didn't know what dissociative was. I didn't know that how your body, basically you're so disconnected and parted. And in addition to that, my favorite thing was that I really started to learn that I operated in gifting, and that I had a deeper kind of in my not only my intuition, but in my knowing and in my senses, that a lot of why I had such bad anxiety and a lot of why my body was always running on 100 was because I was picking up on things, and not only, out externally, but internally. And I didn't have any framework for it. I didn't
Yeah.
understand it. And so it overwhelmed me, and I would shut down and I would just try to numb out to it because I didn't understand it.
Mhm.
But my whole life was everybody, you're too much, you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too that. Well, now I know why.
Yeah.
And now I know how to navigate that. So that's been kind of the gist of my journey.
And
And then
you know, not to interrupt, but like
please
honestly, I think
interrupt.
that anxiety that people carry, it's really interesting when people come and say that they have anxiety or depression. I always
Mhm.
wonder, like, okay, the anxiety sometimes, and I've tried it with several clients and I've seen it in myself. Sometimes the anxiety is like holding back giftings that we're afraid to express. Like I had one client who was an artist and was not doing any of the art. And now the art is really big. There's
Yeah.
installations all over the country and like, but the anxiety and OCD, and now the anxiety and the OCD has gone away because the expression of who
Is
this person
open.
really was is coming
Mhm.
out, and
Yeah.
I feel like an example that I've shared in the past of the podcast was a guy that had an issue with smoking. He was a smoker. And when he quit smoking, he started doing pottery because he needed to do something with his hands. And then he created
Mhm.
this huge center where people from the community come and learn. And he was a teacher. And
Yeah.
then the conversation, it's like, sometimes I feel like we're these humans and we're trying to cram ourselves up, spirits cramming ourselves up in this little body, but really we're so much more.
Well, and we're so driven with fear. And then there's the lens of our traumas and the lens of the experience we didn't get, our underdeveloped emotional self, all of that. But in the anxiety is information. You know what I mean? And actually, depression for me, what I learned is that's just something trying to work itself out. I
Mhm.
was so afraid of all these things because I was always taught they were so bad and they're negative, when really that's my system's trying to work something out. And here I'm trying to shut it down and quiet it. And when I
Mhm.
started to really lean into that communication and really listen to what I was, the information that was trying to come through, that's when everything changed for me. And that's what Lisa and I were talking about when we were talking about this, doing this and the communication, because even you, Lisa, all the time, you have constant communication coming and you're like, I knew that, I got that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been a
So I
journey.
have a question about the communication because I
Yeah.
really resonate with what you're saying. So how do you, because you now have been practicing this lifestyle for like more than a decade,
Mhm.
and but you had the information coming in probably, when you were
Just
10,
little girl,
5, 4,
little,
right?
little. Hmm.
So how do you manage that in the real life, in
Yeah.
the world? Because I'm sure that things are coming up for you, for people, and then how do you express it, or do you hold it,
Yeah.
or do you verbalize it in a different way? Like,
So all the
how does
time.
that come across?
Yeah, all the time. I really, and I have to give credit, one, to the Lord, and two, to the Gina Beckman has been someone that has helped me with that because she herself has lived with this. She's very, very gifted, very intuitive, very knowing. But what I needed to do first and foremost was to allow it. See, because I had spent my whole life trying to shut it down. I'll give you an example. In real life, in our humanity, tangible, practical example is in relationships, when whether it's a romantic relationship or it's with a friend or a family member, and you start feeling all these things when you're engaged or you're interacting, and
Mhm.
there can be several different communication sources, right? Like the part of me that's going, something's off here. Okay, they're telling me this, but I feel this, right? There's a lot of ways that I would experience their soul state. And then I would also experience the spiritual reality, right? Like we can be wonderful human beings with great heart intentions, and because of our own stuff that we maybe are not aware of, or stuff that we're not connected to, there's projections coming from that person to you, and you're experiencing this whole other reality than what you're actually talking about or what they're actually doing to you. So I started, once I was open to it and I was really kind of letting the Holy Spirit allow me to discern and understand and not run from it, then I started developing a framework for, just like, I'll say categories. Okay, this person loves me, but they are triggered by me. And so I started having this reference of where I could understand what they were conscious of or what they weren't. Also, too, when someone was not authentic, that's a good example. Someone who is great, they want to people please, they're trying to be good and right, but they're not really being honest with themselves about something. And so I would experience them very phony, and I couldn't understand why, but my gut was like, run, something's not right. I started to really learn to understand what are they conscious of or what are they not. And I think even if you don't operate in gifting, but you are a created being, everyone is created with this internal navigation, not only to discern, but also to really understand something is off for me. I don't feel right. I have an ugly feeling. I don't feel good. Something is off, and everyone is getting that information, good or bad, right or wrong, and we don't trust it. We challenge it. We question it. We dismiss it, and unconsciously we avoid it as well. And we don't even know that we're doing that. If someone's in a relationship with someone, and they start to feel like something's off, there's something off, and then they're not trusting that, hey, maybe I need to ask some questions or look into this, right? We don't want to know. There's ways that unconsciously we don't even want to know, let alone once we start asking and praying and wanting to know. Now there's proof all around us, and we're not seeing it because
So
we're
what I do with those people is I kind
yeah.
of pace it, because we all have like we're all here, right? And we're all
Yeah,
different. And so it's okay. You can be that way if that's how you want to be. So
right.
I usually like two a day. Like it's a vitamin, seriously. I can only handle like two a day. And if somebody's inauthentic and they've already filled those slots, I literally will just exit
That's
or
your
say I gotta
capacity.
go.
Yeah.
That's my capacity, is two a day. And if I don't have the energy for it, I don't take it in. I just go, not today. Maybe tomorrow I'll have it. But
Yeah.
like, because how do we live in this world, especially you, Angel? Like, you must have this operating all day long. Like, how do you manage that? Because I'm sure as you're speaking and as you're bringing up these examples, there's people that it's hitting them and they're hearing it.
Oh
So
yeah.
how do you manage so that
Well,
you
I
can be
had to do my
happy
own.
and
Yeah,
and
I
uh
had to do my own
comfortable?
work, because part of why it was so overwhelming and just flooding me all the time was because I was not in my own identity grounded. I was not, I
Mm.
was so parted. And so I always tell Lisa, I'm mosaic, right? I have been mosaic. So I had to do EMDR. I had to do body work. I had to do my cranial sacral fascial therapy. Like, I had to do so many things to not only help my central nervous system, but the unconscious realities that were running within me. I had to do my own work so that I could calm everything down and have very healthy boundaries to however I was getting something, so that it didn't bombard my life, let alone outside of the spiritual gifting, just like for normal people, right? Human things we pick up on. And as I did my work, and as I grounded myself, and as I started to have my own depth and my own awareness of self, that really allowed everything to calm down, where I could have agency. And I wasn't getting so lost in everybody and everything. Plus, when my soul was more in a state of peace in who I am, and not running on, I need them to love me, I need them to want me, I need them to choose me, I need them to validate me and reassure me, I wasn't so open to everyone and everything and where they were. So that allowed me to have some space and to differentiate me and them. Before, it was just all one, and that's why I couldn't handle it.
Do you
Right?
think, Angel, from back when you were heavy, back when
Yeah,
everything was
sick
hitting
and
the fan,
numb. Yeah.
do you think that work of getting into, like, starting to connect with your body, right? Because I know back then there was a lot of work you had to do. I know you talked
Yeah.
about like doing a lot of mirror work, right? With self,
Mhm.
talking to self, like healing
Yes.
self. Um, do you think that that was a beginning place of eliminating some numbing things to actually, because I want to know, how did you start to connect to your body? Because
A
I know
100%.
with
Yeah.
my clients, like, the power of EMDR with my clients is that they learn to connect with their body. People are so disconnected.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how did you do that?
Absolutely. And I started through food. And my love
Mhm.
for food. It is not
Mhm.
only something that gives me life, but it is also a way in which I have, used to cope, which was why it was heavy. But
Yeah.
what I started to do was I wanted to eat as clean as possible so that I
Mhm.
could start to connect in ways. Because, see, not only the food, but the weight and all the ways my body was right numb and so
Mhm.
disconnected, unactive, was that I didn't feel anything. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, it really does numb everything out. So as I cut out gluten, I cut out dairy, and not everybody needs to do this. You
Right.
could eat
Right.
clean and
Yeah.
still do those things. But for me, I was sick. So
Mhm.
I was at a crossroads. I had to decide one or the other. So gluten, dairy, and sugar at that time, which I have to say was the biggest thing. So my body literally purged. It was really intense and insane what my body
Mm.
did, but it went through a process of just not only detoxing naturally, but purging. And as that took place, I came online. My senses, my feeling, I always
Mm.
say I started to see in color. I started to notice what I was feeling from other people. Before, it was like all numbed out,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
then my body, but also everything came online. So it was like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
my body's doing this, my body's doing that. But I wasn't, it was more like, I'm going to cry, that part of me that I didn't get to love. Like you said, that
Mhm.
part of me that felt like I hate myself and, I'm not good enough. And I started to come online through with empathy through
Mm.
those feelings. And I started to realize how much pain I was in
Yeah.
all the way
That's
around.
what yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
want you to speak on if you can, because
Yeah.
so my experience, I've gained and lost 100 pounds 10 times in my
Yeah.
lifetime, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, the first time I went from like 190 to 120, like people were pulling over, people were hitting on me, men, women, family members. Like it was not a pleasant, peaceful experience. I
Right.
was online and I felt great. But for the people that have been, I mean, there's a reason why people are holding weight and they
Absolutely.
live in a system, they live in a
Multiple.
family. So,
Mhm.
a different time where I had lost a bunch of weight, I started having physical memories of abuse that had happened to me. I would
Mhm.
be in my apartment by myself with the door locked, and I
Right.
was having physical memories of what had happened. So,
Yeah.
for those people, I mean, what do we do for them? Because you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for the
And
attraction,
wanting.
the
You've got to be
attention.
ready and wanting. Yeah. And willing. And you don't have to
I don't know if
necessarily,
it's willingness though. I will push back on that because
yeah.
it's not, it's just like sobriety. Like, you know, when you're living in a system where you've been the alcoholic and you have not been sober, and the Al-Anon or the person that's been
Yeah.
running the show, you get sober and you're like, I don't, what's in the checkbook? Why are you
Yeah.
buying that?
But
I
if
don't want
there's
the
not a
toaster here.
level,
Mhm.
right, if there's not a level of willingness in your core being as to some level of desire to be well in whatever way, even, and this is why body work is so good for people,
Mhm.
that whether they have addictions or whether it is they're not necessarily in a place of willingness, but there's something within them that needs help, wants support, wants comfort. Those are areas of willingness. They may not look like what we're hoping that they want to be well, but if they're
Right.
just seeking and desiring connection, that's a willingness. That's an open door. So the body then is an angle in that we could meet that person. But here's the thing, the body will express and communicate and have willingness
Mhm.
for them in maybe some of the ways that they don't, right? And their conscious mind and their soul may not be willing to give up what it is they're addicted to yet. But the part of them in their deepest core that is wanting love and support and all those things, the body then is opening up and communicating that and receiving that, and it reaches the person and helps the release of trauma, help, because a lot, we know, right,
Mhm. Mhm.
addictions kind of serve a purpose, but the
Yeah.
deeper root of why is in that core. So whether it's, say for example, if somebody was abandoned, right, and somebody was abandoned to the point where they've lived like an orphan their whole entire life, and so their addiction, their whatever it is, that their will is not willing to get help in certain ways, but their body is deeply craving affection, deeply craving touch, the body is a window of access and release for that person. And it is still a way in that will support them in the areas that are not willing. It's not
Beautiful.
going against their will. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say
Yeah.
that could massage be a beginning of, because if you've not engaged with your body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension in your body you're
Yeah.
holding. Can massage be a beginning point of allowing, I don't know, allowing touch, allowing your body to relax, allowing a physical release? Can that be the beginning of something, or
It
is that
depends.
more? Okay.
It depends, because it depends really on the state of their soul. I'll give you an example. If somebody is tense because they're always in fear and they do not feel trusting, they do
Hmm.
not feel safe, then a massage therapist is not going to, their body's not going to receive that. In fact, they're going to be tense
See.
through the whole entire massage. Not to mention the fact that if they are not feeling matched with that massage therapist, they're
Hmm.
not going to relax in any way that's going to receive the benefits. So a lot of people, we don't listen to that internal communication, and we force ourselves to do these things hoping that we'll get help, but we're not really listening to, you know what, that person just doesn't feel right. Good or bad, right or wrong, I don't even care. Person doesn't feel right. Massage doesn't feel right. Oh, but you know what? Somatic feels good. This feels good. Cranial sacral feels good, right? And or even I just want to go and I just want, sometimes we just need a friend to lay next to us and hold our hand and walk us through breathing. There's so many different
Hmm.
things. If you trust what feels good and right for you, and you stop trying to drive what you believe you need and what you need, what you think you need, then internally you will be led to kind of that path of really receiving what you're needing. One thing unlocks the other, right? So say for
Hmm.
example, someone doesn't necessarily want massage, but they want touch,
Right.
and they feel matched with a therapist, and they go and they say, listen, I know you're great at deep tissue, but I would love for you just to very gently rub my skin, right? Trust that, instead of the massage therapist or the physical therapist or whoever going in with an agenda and telling
Absolutely.
your body what it needs. My body will go, no, no. And the whole time I'm miserable, right?
Hmm.
Because my
Yeah.
spirit, my will, everything in me, it's like, I don't want you touching me. No. And I just wasted $150.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you really have to tune into whether it's justified or not. What do I really want? What sounds good to me? What feels good?
But
Don't
we're
question it.
yeah, we're talking from privilege though, because
Mhm.
some people don't live in a system where what they genuinely want is supported by who they're
Oh,
around. So
100%. I get that.
right, so it is important, I think. I want you to talk a little bit about, what is it, cranial sacral?
Sacral fascial
I have
therapy.
no idea what that is. So
Yes,
a little bit
CFT.
about that. But also I want to say, for those of you who are not, like, this is resonating for you, but you don't live in a system where you're supported, like what your dreams and goals are. Like, I remember when I went to college, my grandma said that I was listening to the voice of the devil, and she meant
Mm-hmm.
it. You're
Mm-hmm.
listening to the voice of
Yeah.
Satanas by
Yeah.
leaving the house, because I was supposed to stay there. So, like,
Yeah.
not me, right? But other
Right.
people that may be in that situation that come across this podcast are like, maybe it's the first time they've ever gotten permission to, like, go, oh, wait a minute, I do need to trust myself. Because when I'm working with moms, and I remember being a twin mom in the NICU, and
Mm-hmm.
people just saying, just trust your instinct, just go, you're a mom, just at the end of the day, trust your gut. And I think you're right. I really that resonates quite a bit with,
Yeah.
it, just the start, like you said, the willingness might start with the body. What is
So
my body
cool.
saying to me?
Hmm.
And
Oh,
then am I
yeah.
listening? Right?
I never got permission in any way to listen, let alone trust anything I felt. I was always
Nope.
told, you're wrong. That's not okay. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. And so I shut it down. But it still lives within us, right? But I shut it down. As a grown adult, I would challenge and question myself. I never trusted myself because I was told, shown, and very much embedded that No, don't cry, don't feel that, don't think that,
Mhm,
don't do this.
mhm.
I could never even exist as self because nothing I did was right. And so, yeah, talk about trying now to give myself permission to feel or to know or to believe, let alone trust. I still have to work with myself on that every single day. Lisa knows we talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's not something like a switch that you can just turn off and on, because there's parts of us that know, wait a minute, it's not safe to trust myself. Right. And
Mm.
that is a reality that lives within me. And so I'm not going to force that to be different. I can try, but I already know myself. I'm very strong willed. It's not going to work. My soul will start to resist that. Just like losing weight. If I tell myself I need to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to go into deprivation and I'm going to take away this, and this. Oh, my soul will retaliate and I'll have deeper cravings and I'll have more, right? It's how we were created.
Yeah.
But if I work with my system, so answering your question, when that part of me comes up and says, well, you don't get to want this. You don't get to want to dream. You don't get to want to believe that you can have better and that you can, have these things in your life. I don't sit there and I force myself to believe it. But what I do is I'll say, okay, so what do I need right now? Like in that moment, how can I sit there with what that feels like and feeling hogtied and shut down and dismissed and denied? That's my way in sometimes. So you got to meet yourself where you're at. And
Mm.
that's going to look different every single thing that you're dealing with, and different times. So one day you may need to say, you know what, Angel, stand up. Stand up. You don't got to know what to do, but stand up. Don't believe all the things that you've always believed that have kept you small. Stand up. Or if it's a person that's struggling with every relationship in their life, they just feel invaluable. They feel insignificant. This is where, they might need to say, okay, well, you know what? In this moment, I'm not abandoning myself. I have myself. Our relationship with ourself is our most important relationship,
Mm.
because that's how we connect to God. We can't
Yeah.
connect to God without having a relationship with ourselves or whoever, a person's source is. But my point is that start where you're at. So if you're someone that was told that that's the voice of the devil, right? And you say, okay, maybe
Mhm.
so, but something in me says that there's more to that. And I just want to allow that in. That's a starting place.
Mhm. And
Channel
did
your
so then do you just reflect, like it sounds like you're saying acknowledge what you're feeling and what's coming up,
good or bad, right or
good or
wrong,
bad, sit in it for a second, and then
allow it,
bring up the other part of you that's also talking, even if it's
or
small.
listen.
So
Listen to
dissociative,
what's there.
dissociative. You mentioned that word,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not a little word, it's a big word.
Yes.
So the way I see it is so the splitting, right? So something traumatic happens. Everybody can relate to this, even if you haven't had this happen to you.
Yeah.
The splitting happens there. You've seen it in movies. Something happens and the camera comes up and it looks down. What the
Yeah.
director and the producers are trying to do is to show splitting. Splitting is in when something traumatic happens and we leave our body, and we really do leave our body. And then
Oh,
what happens
100%.
what happens is um a certain personality kicks in, or a section of your personality kicks in. So that personality might be an adolescent, right? And the adolescent is saying, oh, we're going to get through this and this is never going to happen again. We're out of here, right? As soon as I can get out of here, we're out of here, right? The child is like the 4-year-old is just down, crunched down in the corner, putting their getting in the fetal position.
Yeah.
But that this person is going through this at, let's say, 20. They're 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
And so the splitting is these different aspects of our personality, or what's in our DNA, emotional DNA, start they split, and then they start working as a committee, right?
Mhm.
And so in relationship later, when something happens that's traumatic, the 4-year-old gets in the fetal position, the teenager starts fighting, and the adult checks out. And that's why we do the inner child work, where we're going back and we're coaching our inner child into comfort. But I love the somatic, and you're going to talk about the cranial stuff. I don't know what that is, and the EMDR. The reason what that those therapeutics bring us back together and heal
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
You know, we go
Lisa,
back, we calm the teenager down. We say, I got it. I'm the adult. We get the little baby out of the corner, you
yeah.
know.
Lisa and I talk about this all the time because in addition to the parting, those parts of us are in different realities than we consciously are in. We're in those unconscious realities. And what I love about Lisa is she's that friend that I can talk to and say, oh, my little girl just did this, or my little girl just, experienced that. And in the moment that you're living that out in everyday, day-to-day life, other people don't understand that you're
They don't know.
reacting from a younger part. So like
Yeah.
here, people have said, in romantic relationships, how do you do what you do and you're so fucked up? And I'm like, because, and in my mind, I'm thinking the underdeveloped part of me that is in this relationship that is in, trying to get fed from where I wish my daddy loved me. You know what I mean? And here I am, this wise, intelligent woman that is absolutely not in herself at the moment, making these decisions that are impacting my entire life, and then having to go back and try to, like you said, Lisa, reflect on that, bring that up, get present in that, and then begin again and choose different, right? That's
Yeah.
where, when you do the work and body work, emotional, mental, the therapy, there's a lot of people do shadow work. There's just a lot of different things out there, whatever works for you, prayer. And let me tell you, I've had many moments where the Lord has taken me through a lot of things in self-reflection so that he can show me what this world can't fix, right? What I need him to do. But there's also that part that says, okay, so the dissociative, now I'm very aware. Of course, if it's still something I'm dissociative with or in, I would not know right away, right?
Right.
But at the same time, that unconscious reality that is living within me now, because I'm able to be grounded in myself enough to say, oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm not 5 years old getting raped by someone who's supposed to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
And this situation or environment doesn't feel safe, but I can come back enough into myself to say I am safe, and I can meet myself there, calm my body down. CFT, what I love about craniosacral fascial therapy, and there are different types of body work. There's myofascia, somatic. To me, it really depends on who's doing it because it's all kind of in the same realm. But when your body remembers those realities that live within your unconscious. What I love about the fascial system is it's like one big recording system, and it records every single thing, whether you're conscious of it or not. Your body remembers everything.
It's like the
So,
black box on an airplane.
oh my gosh. And
It is.
also think about it dimensionally too, right? It's picking up on things that your body is impacted by. Like, when you have a dream and you feel like you're going to die, like the monster's going to get you, and your body literally has that. It almost like doesn't hurt, but it's so intense. And you just, when you wake up, it takes a minute for it to go away. The body's responding to that dream as if it were real. It doesn't differentiate that it isn't real. If I go on a date and I'm with someone and this person is making me feel really unsafe, that reality is alive for me, even though that person is doing nothing to me, or, you know what I mean? It's not physically, tangibly, practically happening. So your body is saying, I am so full, I am so at capacity that I cannot really operate these systems and functions the way they are need to, being connected the way that my body needs to work, endocrine system, lymphatic system, immune system, all of that, right? And so this is where your body is saying, I need to connect here, I need to connect there, I need to release this, I need to let go of this, I need for this to come online. And your body knows what it needs, and it will communicate that through the body work. And that's why those full containers, then I'm not sure why I'm freezing, but I'm assuming you guys can still hear me.
We can see and hear you. You're
Yeah.
doing great. You're doing
Perfect.
great.
So that's the thing, is we're emptying those containers in a way. That's the most simple example, so that the body has more capacity to then be able to support the immune system to come online and start to support what it's trying to fight. Things like that.
I'll give you the most simple example. When your phone starts freezing up because you have too many pictures and too many videos honestly, and we can all relate to that. It's like,
Yes.
I got to get the long videos out of my phone, but I don't want to because I want to see my little son when he was graduating from kindergarten. And so I want that long video in there, but we do have to let the stuff go. We do have to clear this stuff out so that we can bring in the new. I want to bring up a statistic just because what you're touching on with the dissociative and the body remembering really affects a lot of people.
Yes.
So,
Very.
globally, it's estimated that 263 million women have experienced SA. I'm going to say it that way so YouTube doesn't kick us off. And then also, nearly 24% of women aged, and I love how they call them women, aged 15 to 19 experience what some of the stuff that we're talking about. And 25%, 24% is like, if there's 4 people at the table, it's one of us, right? And it's such a high number. And I think that I'm at the stage now where what happened and I'm okay.
Right.
I've done so much healing and I've forgiven. Um, and I really have in some ways forgiven, but I'll give you an example of what happened for me is I forgave and I went through it and I really did forgive at that age. But then when I had my children,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and
Yeah.
I was changing my son's diaper. So this is that the body remembers, right? I'm changing my kid's diaper. I had twins, so I really didn't spend, just going through the motions of changing the
Right.
diapers. And it hit me all of a sudden. I was like, who the heck changed my diaper?
Mm.
Who had access to me? Because my
Yeah.
mom wasn't there and my dad wasn't there.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's just like, so did I forgive when I was 21 or 25 or 30 or 32? Of course I did. But when I had my babies, it was a whole new level of forgiveness. So
Yeah.
that's why we're constantly doing this work.
Yeah.
And that's why Lisa's book about the garden and your book, what's the title of your book?
My book is
I
in,
need the
it's
title
not
of your
out yet.
book.
I know that's what everybody says.
You're
I'm
gonna come
like
back with the book and the title when you have
100%.
the, yes.
I have a journal of many titles. I'm like, okay, this is gonna have to just like come in a little bit. It's too, yeah, there's too many.
Right. We could literally take the transcript of this podcast and
Yeah.
that could be the foundation and the
For
beginnings
real.
of your book because the
Yeah.
stuff that you're pouring out is like, you don't know what some of the terminology that you're saying and the experiences that you're saying could save these lives. There's women out there that have never, that don't
Yeah.
have access to everything that you have experienced and that you have overcome and that you have had access to. So getting that to them is going to be like
It's why
really
I do what I
monumental.
do. Lisa and I just talked about this the other day. It's her and I have always been so similar on we felt so alone. And Lisa, I'm not trying to speak for you, but I know
No, you're
this because we share this is we felt so alone with so many things growing up that our passion and our heart's desire really is to kind of that person that can resonate with one thing that says, oh my gosh, I'm not so broken that I'm hopeless. Like, look, this is something someone else has gone through. And even when Lisa, her cover of her book, it spoke to me in such a way that I said, this is what is going to reach people because everybody feels inside that depth of despair at some point, that level of hopelessness that they just need to know they're not alone. And I told Lisa, I was like, that book is going to just break open people in the best way to give them a source of freedom for themselves, and so yeah, we live in quiet because no one gives us permission to talk about the deep dark places that really do just need light shined on them because we are not so different.
no,
Whatever we
and
want.
we all want healing, and it's like I think we have to be able to have these conversations and talk about our stuff and like how are you moving through it? Well, how are you moving through it? It's kind of like when you have kids and you want to talk to your friends how they're parenting because you're at a loss of words. You don't know what else to do in your parenting, and so you're like, well, what are you doing? Well, what works for you?
Yeah.
It's the same with the healing where it's like, well, I mean, I went to Angel and I was like, do your magic. Like I had never done cranial sacral, but I was like, go for it. I totally trust you, and it was so interesting because she's just like not really doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, but you're like laying on a table and she had told me when you want to move your body, when your body needs to move, go ahead and move. And I'm just laying there and I feel vulnerable just laying on this like table. Like I could
Yeah.
feel, oh, this kind of feels vulnerable, even though I'm with somebody that I've been connected to forever. And so she just puts her hands on my head and
Oh, we lost her. Keep going, and then we'll bring her back in when she comes into the room. But go ahead, keep
okay.
going.
So she put her hands on my head and she's basically listening to my fascial. She's listening to my body. So great. And my body's telling her what's going on. And then before you know it, I go, I need to get in fetal position. And I get in fetal position and I start wailing. Like, and that came out of nowhere. I was doing fine, I thought, right? And through that, and then she's like, "Your dad's your dad's here." And I, of
Oh,
course, was, like,
wow.
losing it, and then she starts bringing up the men in my life, one after the she goes, "Your body's saying this, your body," and I'm like, "Girl, you don't know this stuff." Like, I know you're my friend, but you don't know what this is true, but my body was releasing, and I was grieving, there was grief in my head. My last relationship was coming up, and then my daughters came up.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was just fascinating to me that my body's telling on me, right? And I I literally felt release after that. And
She's almost back. Sorry, Lise.
Oh my
Ah!
God. Of all the times I have the best internet connection here, and I'm like, okay,
No, it's
whatever.
fine. It's fine. It's technology. But
Yes.
Lisa was just explaining her experience with the body work with you, and how
Mhm.
the body was telling you that the people were coming out, and
like the guys, and then my
amazing. And
daughters
that
and
you
my
didn't know that information.
yeah.
You don't know that information. So, but it's the
It's
body's telling.
powerful. It's
Mhm.
powerful. I have my own tribe of people I go to because I feel my body holds so much all the time. And so it's something, right? Like regular maintenance I have to do.
Mm,
But you had said one thing that really, when our capacity, when you were talking about our capacity and the phone and basically like it having the memory and all of that, and here's the thing, not everybody feels safe for their body in their body, right?
yeah.
And
Yes.
Lisa, you were talking about like massage. How do people do that? What I love about cranial sacral and why it worked for me is because I wasn't going in to traumas and trying to relive them and ask my body to give this up, and it was so gentle and
Mhm.
so loving, and I didn't have to relive anything. My body, like when you said too, when you were changing the diaper, and it's all these things come up, is my body is already ready and
Yes.
already
Yes.
knows
That's
what
what you were
I
talking about.
need.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what you were
Yes.
And
talking
so
about.
my
Mhm.
body is gonna is as it does it, it's gonna feel gentle and tender and loving. And a lot of times I don't even necessarily know like that my body's released something, but I'll feel when I'm done lighter, and I just know. And so, and then when a trigger happens and I'm like, ooh, my body didn't respond the same way to that, I can tell that it isn't active within me anymore. That's how I know. But it's not intrusive, it's not violating, it's not
You
forceful.
feel lighter. I feel like fighting. I'm like, what? And why did you guys leave me there? And what were you like? I'm having fights with ghosts. Like I'm
Oh,
just
well,
like,
and right,
I'm
that's
like,
something that
I can't believe this. Like, how did you like
I
just
that for me,
so
that's my favorite part, because that for me is the processing, like the awareness that
yeah.
now my body's not holding it, so I can consciously be aware of it and I can deal with it now. You know what I mean? Like it's not being held and harbored or contained. It's like, oh yeah, no, I can
Yeah.
I can move forward. Yeah. I
And I
love
with
that.
clients, I this was taught to me, but it is the process of remembering. And that's why I will let clients know, like, it might not get easier yet, right? We're not there yet, but you're remembering stuff that's what denial is there for. Denial
Oh
is
yeah.
a coping mechanism. It protects us,
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
trying to remove someone's denial for them or from them, like when it's time to process, it'll come. I feel like
Yeah.
I was
Oh yeah.
use the analogy of a bus. Like it's going to come and you're like, should I get on it? No. comes
Well,
again,
and there's layers and levels to denial, because the root of why we're denying, like I always tell Lisa, I love to map that for clients because it's layered and one unlocks the other. So it's not just one thing and why we're denying. And that's what's so beautiful. People who are wanting truth, who are ready for truth, even if they just start there. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And that's, Lisa, when you say, how did you start this? I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I just want truth. I just want, it's like I wasn't willing in every area, but I just wanted to start with, let me just start eating clean and just really letting my body breathe and get some goodness. That's where I started. And for me, it just snowballed into this beautiful, of course, at that time I was a secretary, an administrative assistant for 20 years. This line of work chose me, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
God chose me for this. I didn't choose this. I sat behind a desk. Well, I didn't sit behind a desk, but you know what I mean? Anyone who is a support person knows. But my point is that when you start to come into your truth and you start to not be living your life based on all of what trauma has done, the neglect, the underdevelopment, all of the fear has created. I told Lisa, I made my life so small because I had OCD, ADD. Like I was so, controlling of always wanting my life to be something I could manage.
Yeah.
And that's not how we were meant to live. Not only can, things that are meant for us can't come into that, but I lived very small.
Because you try to
And
cut
so,
out all the triggers, right? So you just reduce everything
yep,
to the point where then,
avoid.
yes, just
Yep.
cut when
but
we have to learn
shout out.
we have to learn how to be in life
Yeah.
and manage the triggers, right?
The
But shout out,
discomfort, the fear.
to the version of Angel that did that. I
100%.
really, I go to like,
100%.
I've been in recovery, in the recovery rooms for like 36 years at plus. And, a lot of people talk about what it was like and what happened and what it's like now. And they'll talk about what it was like as if that person was bad and now they're good. And I feel like,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what? That person walked in the room.
Oh,
The version of you that was sitting behind that desk doing whatever she did, you were like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get to the other side of this. This isn't going
she's
to
a
stop
fighter.
me. I might be on pause right now, or I might be
Mhm.
operating at a 2, but I'm going to get there. And I remember having nothing, having absolutely nothing and no one,
Yeah.
and like sleeping on a couch for $150, and I had $2 to my name. And that girl had the courage to think that one day she was going to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Before a podcast was even invented, right?
Yeah.
Before, like, we were out there just in a holding pattern ish,
Mhm.
doing what we were doing. So for anybody that is struggling right now or feels like they're at the what it was like part, like,
Yeah.
shout out to you for listening to this podcast, right? And
Absolutely.
buying
Being
Angel's book
willing
and buying
to
Lisa's
hear.
book, right?
Yeah.
Your moments are coming and you're building. And I loved that's why I pushed back on the willingness, because I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes, especially in the recovery world, people will say like in the church world, right? They'll say like, well, when you're willing, you'll be willing. And it's like as if willingness was like the solution.
Yeah.
Like everybody's willing. We're all trying so hard. But like sometimes, I remember again early in recovery, people will say, just pray for the willingness to be willing. I would pray for the willingness to be willing. And I remember another person who said, you know what? Because I was struggling with God. And she said, I know you don't believe. She goes, but could you believe that I believe? And I could. I could
Mhm.
believe that she believed.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
do believe. I believe what you're saying. I might not believe, and you might be listening to some of this body work thinking, I don't believe that. But I tell you what, I believe Angel believes.
Oh, I do believe.
I
And I have
do.
to say, I'm doing this for her because, and what I mean is that little girl that felt thrown away and felt unwanted. And, she has fought her way, good or bad, right or wrong. Lisa knows, she has known me forever. I have fought everybody and everything, even the things that were good, even when people were trying to love me, because all I knew how to do was fight. And that's what has gotten me here. And that's why I always say I found God on on my face, not because I was praying to him, but because I didn't want anything to do with him, because I believed he abandoned me. And the thing is that I've been raised with people who believe in God, but I never felt God. I never felt him until he let me be real in who I was, that fighter, that feisty, unwilling, always challenging, person. And now, even though there is the version of me that hates herself, that I continue to sit on the bathroom floor with and just try to love, right? It is that girl that challenged everybody and everything that has gotten me here. It's the part of why I even can know that I have gifting, know that I was created differently. We all are created for a reason. It's a beautiful fingerprint. And when we just allow ourselves to go, okay, you know what? That might not be acceptable to everyone else, but there is a reason why I feel that way. There is a reason why I am not comfortable doing that. And I really just got comfortable allowing that. Like you were saying, Lisa, right? It's like just allowing it. I try not to assess it as much, because the part of me that wants to know and wants to anticipate and all of that. But I try to just allow myself to let in all the parts of me and not try to control and manage that. It's not easy, because we're human. We want to be accepted. We want to please. We want to be loved. So, when you embrace your humanity, let it be a part. I let all the parts of me. I always say no part left behind, good or bad, right or wrong. And if I have to have a trucker session where I'm, mother effing, myself or God or whoever else, it allows me to get to the place where I can then come back to love and truth. And for me, that's what it's all about, because we are meant to live in freedom, not bondage, suffering every minute of every day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
Well
Yeah.
said.
I don't know why my sports analogies come in, but they do. But, it's really interesting to me. I really, really get a lot of sports analogies. But, people watch baseball and it's so boring. And then when you go there, you can't hear anything that you can hear on TV about baseball. You can't. You're just looking at it and all you hear is the people next to you. And then some guys bring their little radio so they could hear what's happening, the announcer or whatever. And, I used to think the untrained eye watches baseball and they think that the guy hitting the ball is playing the game, and they're not. The first baseman's there, the third baseman's there, the pitcher's there, the catcher's there. The first base coach is going to tell you whether you should even run to first base. I mean, you're going to hit it and you're going to run. But if they're trying to get the other guy in before the game finishes, you might be sacrificed, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that these men have figured something out. They work as a team. They trust the first base coach, the third base coach. They get mad at each other and they get through it. And I feel like sometimes as women, we don't get that permission to trust your first base coach. Go to someone like Angel and trust you've got some part of it figured out that I can't see from my vantage point. Right.
We all have different angles.
But with the game, there's somebody up here telling the first baseman what to do, first base coach what to do. It's not the way you see it. There's so much more to it. And I think as we build our team and our tribe, like you mentioned, and trust each other and continue to grow. And, that's the one thing I feel like I really have gotten in recovery is they used to say, Angie, you're not teachable. You need to become teachable, because growing up in alcoholism, you learn to shut down and just trust your instinct, right? How did the car pull up? Was it did it pull up fast? Is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? Do I need to hide? Or can I stay here? So you shut out and we become unteachable. But as we become more teachable, then we can learn and trust and grow, and listen to those, find the helpers. I always tell my kids, you got to find the helpers.
I have to say too that, Lisa's known me since, it was 13, right?
Junior high. Yep.
Yeah. And I was a very different person then, but I was in a lot of pain and I was always running from everything. And I just have to say exactly what you're saying, the team, because where I was so um, resistant to everything and everyone, she was the one person that was consistent, not in trying to shove Jesus or the Lord down my throat. She was an example of God's heart, and she loved me anyway. And I was not easy to love then. It's okay, I own it. But she loved me anyway. And she brought me into environments that I would have never been in because I didn't feel good enough. And she loved me out loud. And I have to say that, like how you say, people are going to hear this podcast, they're going to resonate, with different things. We want them to not feel alone. But there are people in our lives that are trying to love us. They're trying to, and Lisa isn't someone who always gave me advice because she knew that I wouldn't listen to it. But she's that person that would lay on the bathroom floor with me and say nothing and just let me know that I wasn't alone. And she helped me and modeled for me how to love myself. I tell her all the time, I want to be like you when I grew up, because she has a strength within her to love. And so, as unlovable as we may feel, and as what we may not get as children all the time, and what we may not experience, there are ways in our life that they are trying to reach us and get to us. It just might not be where we're looking or what we're thinking or what we're expecting. And so I think that's what's important. Communication, resources, opportunities in what we need, when we need it, and how we need it are everywhere. They're everywhere if we listen and we look and we want to see them.
If you focus on the solution gets bigger. And if you focus on the problem gets bigger. And it really does.
Or if you surrender, if you just relinquish in the being a mess, relinquish in the falling apart, trust the process. We were created and designed to make it out. We were. And internally, we have a whole team. Our mind, body, soul, spirit, heart, and will is a team that is always working on our behalf. And so regardless of the dissociation, the traumas, the painful experiences, the underdevelopment, all of that, there is a deeper part of us that is working on our behalf and will help us to see and to know the next thing that we can go. We don't have to have the answers. We don't have to have the answers, right? Yeah. So I love you both. You guys, this podcast is such a blessing to so many people. And you both are just not only individually amazing because of what you do, but who you are and why you do what you do is really the blessing in it. And I just have to say, I'm honored to be one of your guests. And
our first guest.
Our first one.
Our first guest.
I love being a first.
And we'll have you back. Because there's so much in here. It's just hard to get it all in. But
we did great though. We usually do 25 minutes, half hour, sometimes 30. We did almost a full hour.
Yeah. We knew.
We knew that we needed to give you ample time. And one day when we have like the 1.5 hour format, we'll have you on again as well. Or if we go in that direction, we try to make it manageable because we know that so many women out there are busy, and like, how long does it take us to watch a 1.5 hour movie? Like, I think it takes me like so long. Yeah. So, so I'm not saying that I listen to movies in my car. I'm not saying that, but, oh my gosh, my husband made me downgrade to like the Netflix with commercials. So like, I don't even do that anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't, but thank you so much, Angel. You've been amazing.
Thank you both. Yeah, truly. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I as you were speaking, there was like so many things where I'm like, that's going to be a viral video. That's going to be a viral reel. Like every sentence that you're saying is just so impactful. So,
well, we're all ready, right? We are all ready. And I think people are ready more than ever. And a lot of the language we're using, they can understand and resonate because there's a desire for deeper awareness. And I'm all about it, right? I'm all about it. It's like, roll up your sleeves, balls to the wall. Let's go. Right? Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. And you know what? Red is your signature color. You look amazing and fabulous.
You. So I had to, step up to the level of these beautiful women.
Our level.
So
Stop it.
Thank you.
All right, ladies. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All
Have a
right.
great day.